Well, hello.
Hey, George.
We're here again,
We are.
and we're recording another podcast in our series, The Road Less Traveled.
That's right.
It acknowledges that we are on a journey,
That's right.
on a journey that we're not alone,
Yeah.
on a journey that has been traveled well.
It is worn. It
Has been traveled
tried.
well before us,
Yeah, that's right.
and we have plenty of examples
Yeah.
to discover some ways that could challenge us
Yeah, that's right.
to live in those ways.
That's
and
right.
we talked about speaking truth,
Yeah. The last
prophetically
one.
speaking truth.
Yeah, you made me
That's
nervous.
challenging.
Yeah.
This one is just as challenging, I think.
Yeah.
Is voluntary poverty and simplicity. You know?
You know, when you said that one earlier, like when you did the prophetic truth telling, I had one kind of resistant, internally
Yes.
resistant reaction. This one, there's a little bit of that too, but it's of a different kind. But it's there nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that we're not coming here as experts, but ones who are aspiring to this way. Ones who are seeking to simplify and to have less versus more.
Yeah.
The dream of all people is to go from rags to riches.
Yeah.
The dream of Christ is to go from riches to rags.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah. There's an inversion of the kingdom in this.
You know, John Wesley himself said this, and it sounds pretty damning. He says it's a sin for any Christian to die rich.
Wow.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
But it is at the same time a challenge. Like, what are these riches for? How are we using them
Yeah.
for the purposes that they were given for?
Yeah.
If God entrusts us with wealth, it is not so that we have more than enough. Is that when we have enough, we take what is more than enough and we make sure other people have enough.
That's good.
It's the play on words.
That's quotable.
Yeah.
When we have more than enough.
We take what is more than enough
Yeah.
and we give it to those who don't have enough.
Who don't have enough.
So that they can have enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
Christian history is filled with these examples of people who were determined and convinced by the life of Jesus, by this road less traveled of Jesus, that riches is not the way for them going forward in their devotion to Christ, on their journey to Christ.
Yeah.
We think of people like Francis of Assisi and Clare of Assisi. These two people, one from a textile merchant,
Right.
one who would inherit a lot of riches, another one also from a merchant, and they voluntarily give that up to live a life of simplicity, of poverty, so that they can serve God without the encumbrances, I think is what you called them earlier,
Yeah.
the encumbrances of wealth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we're not saying if you're wealthy, you're a sinner, or if you're wealthy, you should give up all your wealth. We recognize that both poverty and wealth are instruments in the hands of God to bring goodness to His world.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not at the same time, let me say it this way, what we want to avoid in the way we're talking about this way is that this is for some, but that we come to understand that the way of Jesus takes in the way of simplicity. And a person can have wealth and also be practicing the way of Jesus in simplicity.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's what's most on my heart as we've prepared for this, is that we will not see simplicity as something that's for some strange people out there, but in especially in the way, one of our core convictions, George, is when we're trying to figure out an issue or forming theology or trying to understand something, we start with Jesus. And if we look to Jesus, one of the things that becomes part of our kind of composite understanding of him is this place of simplicity and not being encumbered.
That's right.
By the distractions and wealth and other things that were in the world system.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus was born in simplicity.
That's right.
He was born in a little town out of nowhere, in a manger, because there was no place for him elsewhere in the house. And it's a picture of how to live simply.
Yeah.
To live a life that the little that you have is enough and matters.
Yeah. And
having more is not an indication of anything.
Yeah. Of the favor of God.
That's right. That's
any of that. And he may bless some in that way with more.
Yes.
But there's something behind that.
There's blessing. A stewardship behind
the
blessing. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So we want to normalize this as a part of our discipleship. I think that's what our heart, and we say that alongside of, we too have, I can speak personally, I have my own fears. Most of us have when we think about money and possessions and all that. There's, my fear is the fear of not having enough. And never in my life have I not had enough. And so it's so irrational for me to give in. There's nothing wrong with having the fear. The problem is if I give in to it and nurture it. That if God has been so faithful to give what I've needed, then therefore the fear is very likely very irrational.
A verse from the Psalms says, "I have been young and now I am old, but I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his children begging for bread."
That's good.
It is a promise that I hold dear.
Yeah.
At the same time, you wonder, you're one disaster away from bankruptcy.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah.
And that not only affects you, but affects the dreams that you have for your children, for your grandchildren, for for providing for your family and all of that. So how do we live in trust and faith that God has enough for us, and even when we don't think we have enough, He is enough.
Yeah,
for
that's
us.
good.
I think Jesus lived that way.
Yeah,
He lived that way.
He did, and He taught about it. Too.
Yeah.
Want to look at
foxes have holes.
Yeah.
But the Son of Man doesn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a place to lay his head. And Jesus is teaching us something like the importance of trust and faith in God to be the provider versus this drive in us that says, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
I have to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
there are examples throughout history who have taught us that sometimes the pursuit of wealth is not good for our souls, and that is for certain individuals. Sometimes we're gifted with accumulating wealth. I know people who, whatever they touch, they're going to make money, and that money is well used for the kingdom.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful gift to see.
Absolutely.
But I also know people who say, no, if I become wealthy, I know what's going to happen. and I'm going to choose a simpler way of life. I'm not going to choose the way of advancement. I'm just going to be satisfied with what I have and serve God in the way that I know how to serve Him with what I have.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. This is the spirit with which we come to that. John Woolman, a Quaker, came to the realization that he had multiple business opportunities, but then realized within himself, no, if I go this way, then I won't be able to do this, you know?
Yeah.
And he chose the right way.
Yeah.
Catherine of Siena said, I think it's Catherine of Siena said, our labor here is brief, but the reward is eternal. So do not be disturbed by the clamor of the world, which passes like a shadow. Which passes like a shadow. And that's in a letter that she wrote to the Empress in Prague.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
Talk about speaking truth to power there. Yeah. There's families that I know personally. You know some, and we read about them in magazines like Habitat for Humanity, and that people who downsize their homes so that they can live in a smaller place, and they take the proceeds, the gains, and they give it to sheltering other people and doing good with that.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, there was the Thompson family in Philadelphia did just that. And somehow the Lord got a hold of the whole church, and the whole church began to downsize. And with those proceeds, they were able to help hundreds in their community.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, those stories are there, and they're doable if we are listening to where God wants to take us.
Yeah.
Each individually, but as a group of people as well.
So this is part of our road less traveled, is coming to terms with the way of simplicity. George, why don't we hear from Jesus? Let's go to Matthew chapter 6. I'm going to read starting in verse 19. Of course, this is right in the middle of his great sermon that we now call Sermon on the Mount. In verse 19, I'll begin there. He says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Yeah.
That's a profound statement.
It is a profound statement, and makes me wonder, just reading this, like, what is Jesus concerned about that the people would be missing if their sole interest is to be wealthy and to store up treasures on earth? Like, Jesus is not just speaking against wealth.
No, he's not.
He's speaking against how wealth can rob you.
Yeah.
And what does it rob you of?
Yeah.
Like, can you think of a couple of things? Like, peace of mind comes to mind, you know?
Yeah.
When you're always concerned with the much that you have, and the barns that are full, and should you build new barns to house the more that you are getting, and all. I mean, you lose peace of mind doing this
How in
kind
the
of
world
stuff.
am I going to keep all this? To protect it. And,
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom flies out the window when all you're thinking about is, okay, I made this much. If I did this, I could make twice as much. Well, there's no freedom there. You're not living in freedom. There's no...
It enslaves us.
That
kind of greed
and not to mention the time commitment and the efforts and the emotional energy and all kinds of things that can get in the way of doing that.
Let me pick up verse 25 of Matthew 6. Jesus says, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? And he means us to answer Yes, life is more.
Yeah.
Look at the birds of the air. They don't sow or reap or store away in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to life? And he goes on from there, and ends kind of with the challenge in verse 33, which is well known. Seek first my kingdom and its righteousness, and these things will be given to you as well. So he's not prohibiting having treasures and treasuring. He's saying, be careful what you're treasuring.
Yeah, and Solomon is mentioned in this passage here.
Yeah, that's right. You want to read
in all
that
of
one?
his glory, Solomon, in all his glory, was not clothed like one of these, the lilies of the field.
Yeah.
And he brings in Solomon into the equation because one of the things that Solomon did when he was asked what he wanted from the Lord,
Yeah.
he didn't say riches.
Yeah. That's right. He chose wisdom.
He chose wisdom.
Yeah, that's right.
The way of wisdom,
Yeah.
and he's commended for that.
Yeah.
And I think this is what we need. If riches is coming are coming our way, if poverty is coming our way, what we need is the wisdom of God to live content in one and content in the other,
Yeah.
and how to be good stewards of our poverty and of our riches.
Yeah, that's good.
Because the poor can have a lot of riches to give to others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
A richness of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
The richness of knowing how to be content with little.
Yeah. Yeah.
How to be satisfied with bigger things in life than money can buy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. It's really good. This way of simplicity may come to us through the lens of scarcity. We may see simplicity as a scarce way of living, but if we really stop and break it down, it's not.
No.
You know, if I can live my life provided for what my needs are, and then take my hands off everything that's not needed, there's a contentment that is worth much more than having more and not being content with it.
Yeah.
It's not a good trade.
You've traveled overseas a lot, and you've seen poverty, but it just seems like people are not unhappy.
Yeah, poor people are not that miserable.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, there's still a smile on their faces, a thankfulness in their hearts, and hospitality.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't need us to feel sorry for them there, you know, and but it doesn't mean they don't have real needs that we can help them with sometimes, you know.
I went to Greece to work with Syrian refugees, and I can't tell you the number of times, like, they would invite us to their home, and you know, Jim, they didn't have a place to sit. Their beds had no mattresses on them. But you know what? They brought out the tea. They brought out the cookies. Just to be hospitable in their poverty and to show respect and dignity, you know, to others. That's being rich even though you are poor.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So this way of simplicity, I think I keep saying this, but I think it's worth repeating. It is a normal part of our life with Jesus.
Yeah.
Is to learn and train in this way of simplicity. It's not a call for the strange people over there. It's a way of the life of God.
Yeah.
And it has a purpose. It's not simplicity for simplicity's sake. It's simplicity for
goodness sake.
That's right, for goodness sake.
Yeah, yeah.
So that we can be a blessing. Go ahead, George.
There is a passage in Proverbs that I think is really worth reading to summarize kind of some of these thoughts under one passage. This is Proverbs chapter 30, verses 7 to 9. And this is the one praying, the priest who is praying. He says to God, 2 things I ask of you. Now, automatically this begs the question, will you join him in asking these 2 things?
Yeah,
Right?
that's good. 2 things I ask. He's inviting us.
And do not deny them to me before I die. Remove far from me falsehood and lying. Give me, so that's the first thing.
Okay.
Remove from me falsehood and lying.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Help me not to live with my false self as dominating everything I do.
Yeah.
And remove far from me and give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that I need. Or in this case, the wisdom of this, in his case, he realizes, or I shall be poor and steal and profane the name of the Lord, or I shall be full and deny and say, who is the Lord? Right?
That's an honest prayer.
That's an honest prayer.
Yeah.
He knows himself.
Yeah, he does.
Don't give me any poverty and don't give me any riches. And that's a good prayer.
Yeah.
And to be satisfied praying that prayer.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked about this maybe a little bit earlier, said those are relative terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the eyes of the world, we are the richest people in the world.
Right.
But it takes richness to live in this country.
Yeah.
We were in Armenia and we stayed with our friends. Jim, like the wife was working, and you know what she was making an hour? $1. $1 an hour. She can probably make more if she was willing to travel outside of, close to home and that kind of thing, and take on more responsibility and all of that. But $1 an hour. And this is like it's not a poor country,
Yeah.
but she says, I would rather be close to my kids in case anything happens than to make much more money than what I'm making.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You asked a question earlier, George. You said, what do we lose when we have too much?
Yeah.
That was a great question.
Yeah.
I remember as a young man, there are a couple things I imagined that, one day I really wanted to have like a sailboat by the time I'm this age.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm that age and I don't have a sailboat. And, back then I would have thought, well, it's going to be disappointing if someone could have told me. Now that I'm this age, I'm like, I'm pretty happy that I don't have a sailboat.
Yeah.
But that's not really the point, because if someone gave me a sailboat today, I guess I would think about receiving it, but it's not important to me.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't say that, I hope, in the spirit of pride or bragging. I'm saying our journey with Christ, if we really have our heart and mind, even though we fail, and I certainly do, but on becoming like Jesus, we should expect our life trending forward in the way of simplicity. It is part of the road less traveled.
Yeah.
And it's a good part of the road less traveled.
That's right.
It's part of the abundance of Jesus' life.
Yeah.
Is that we don't have to have these things to be a blessed person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what we can potentially lose is really exemplified in the story. I don't know how real it is, but it's told in writings where Pope Innocent IV comes to Thomas Aquinas, a theologian.
Okay. Yeah. This is a long time ago, 13th century, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And he says to him, Do you remember when Peter and John went to the temple and they had nothing to give? They said, silver and gold we have none.
Mm-hmm.
He says, yeah. Thomas Aquinas answered the Pope and said, yes. He says, look at all the riches we have.
Yeah.
The cathedrals, the money that's coming in.
Yeah.
And says, but what we also don't have is the ability to say to that poor person, rise up, take up your mat, and walk.
Mm. Wow.
I think that's one of the things that we lose when our dependence is on our riches.
Mm.
And I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Is if you have riches, take what you need, and the rest is stewardship to the Lord.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you don't, then be content with what you have.
Yeah.
And realize that you may lose the ability to make a difference in the world if all you're doing is accumulating.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, very good, George.
Well, it's a warning to us, ourselves
it is.
included.
That's right.
And it's a challenge to our listeners to consider these thoughts and to say, like, what do you do? Some people have, like, traditions and practices that they do, which on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, they find, they realize, boy, God has done so many things, and I'm grateful for this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say for 3 meals today, and then you may total the amount of money it costs to make these 3 meals today, and you take the equivalent money and you put it in this jar, this gratitude jar, and then at the end of the month you give it to the poor, you give it to some organization that is serving the poor, or you know somebody who is poor that you give it to them directly.
Yeah.
But some kind of a practice like this keeps us in touch with how much we are receiving, how much we have, and how much we can give to others.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Of course, giving to the church is always a priority, and the church is doing a lot of good in culture, you know, in the preaching of the gospel, in the ministry to the people, you know, that's always a priority. But there are other ways also of blessing the poor and living simpler.
That's right. Yeah. May we receive it, this call and challenge.
Amen.
Well, thank you, George.
A couple more in this series.
Yeah, I think we have.
And then we'll move on to something else.
Yeah, that's right. 2 more.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks. See you guys next time.
Blessings.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Soul Renovate podcast. Any of the scriptures or resources that we mentioned in this episode will be linked in our show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, because it really helps us to share these conversations with more Christian leaders like you. And if you have any questions you'd like Jim and George to answer, you can email us at info@soulrenovate.us. Soul Renovate is a ministry of Christ First Counseling Center, and it exists to propel Christian leaders to abide in Christ and grow in His likeness. Soul Renovate is made possible by the generous support of people like you. If you'd like to support us, you can do that on our website, soulrenovate.us. And if you'd like to learn more about Soul Renovate, you can also do that on our website, soulrenovate.us. This podcast is produced by me, Dalton Huey. Our cover art was designed by Hannah Huey, and our music is by The Fox's Forest. Thanks again for listening. Till next time.